guys, I have a short story time video and a lesson for those of you like myself who do not know how to use a gas grill and do not read directions, even though you should, but you like to figure stuff out on your own because you like to, I don't know, learn lessons? I don't know, but lesson learned. Okay, last week my mother got a new grill and she used to have a little charcoal grill and she bought a gas grill and we were cooking out on it for the first time. I never have used a gas grill before. Never really paid attention to how people used it, so I really didn't know what I was doing. And we were making ribs and I just remember my fiance saying you have to turn all the burners on. And so I turned all the burners on because it's a 5-burner grill. And nothing was happening, so I'm like, oh yeah, I have to turn the propane tank on probably. So I turned that on and had the burners on, and I had the lid open at the time. And nothing was happening. I was like feeling to see if it was like warming up, but there was like no fire. So I'm like, oh, maybe I have to close the lid. And so I closed the lid and still nothing was happening. So I'm like, let me just call him and see what I have to do because we need to make these ribs now. And so, mind you, I didn't turn any of the burners off or the propane. I just left it how it was. And I had the lid closed. So I called him and I told him, like, yeah, I have all the burners on, like you said, and nothing's happening. So he was like, is the propane tank on? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, did you press the button, like, to ignite the flame, apparently? I didn't know that that's what it was for. And I was like, oh, no, let me do that. So I'm still on the phone, and the button was like on the ground because I think when I took the cover off, the button fell off. It's just like this knob that I think you turn it. I don't think you press it. And it's like there's a little battery underneath. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it's like a legit battery. So I'm like, are you sure that's right? So I go to put the button back on, and I believe this is when it happened. It just a flame shot out, like the grill, like the lid must have opened a little because it shot out at me, and I was on the phone with my left hand, and this hand was like trying to put the button in. So this arm got so burnt, and all my hairs were just sizzled off. It smelled so bad, and it was just hurting so bad. And my shirt, I had this really nice shirt on, like this lace shirt that I had for a while, and I forgot about it, and I just recently found it and wore it for the first time. And I was so mad about that. But I mean, obviously, like that's not important. It's not. And my son and my nephew were outside playing in the backyard. Thank God that they were not near the grill because they would be like right at the level, like their hairs would have like got burnt off. So I'm just so thankful that they were not near the grill and it was just me. And so I'm on the phone with him still, and I screamed bloody murder because first of all it scared me, second of all it hurt really bad. And so a little bit of my hair got sizzled off. It just smelled like so bad, like burnt hair. I don't know if you know that smell, but it's terrible. I'm still on the phone with him, and he's like, you gotta turn the propane tank off. Like, he's yelling at me, like, you gotta do it now. I'm like, I don't want to go near there. Like, it just blew up in my face. So I was so afraid. So I went, turned the knobs off really quickly, and like, I turned the propane tank off, and I think I did it to the left. I just did it until it wouldn't go any further. And then he's like, no, you gotta do it to the right. I'm like, no, I don't want to go back there. So, because I wasn't thinking, like, obviously lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So I went back and I did it as fast as I could. And then I was, like, yelling at my sister because sorry, there's, like, a car going by. Take your time. She was outside because she was watching the kids with me. And so I yelled at her, like, take them in now, because I was just afraid that I didn't, like, what if I didn't turn the propane tank off all the way? I had no idea, like, why it blew up like that at that time. I didn't know if it was the grill, like, if there was something wrong with it, if there was something wrong with the propane tank, because our neighbor had given it to us because she had it for a while. So I didn't know what happened at the time. And so she's, like, dragging them in. They're screaming because they wanted to stay outside. And so I'm running my arm under cold water, and it's killing so bad. The only time it felt like normal was when it was under cold water. And so I'm looking up like what to do or how do I know if it's a 2nd-degree burn. And it just said don't ice it, don't put it under ice cold water because it can damage tissue. And it said to put aloe vera on it. So in case you get a burn, you can use aloe vera, or you can use antibiotic ointment. And I'm like pointing to my arm because this is the arm. So You can't really tell. It's like, it's about to start peeling completely. Right here peeled. I'm not sure why right there peeled. I had it wrapped in a gauze pad and an ace bandage, and this part, like, since it's right at the bend, it kept slipping down, so this part was exposed, so maybe that's why it's peeling. And you can't tell, but there's like little blisters. Let me try and show you. It's really blistery, kind of like after you get a really bad sunburn. And right after, it was just like really red, and just, it hurt so bad to touch it. Like, now I can touch it okay. And I was so afraid to take a hot shower, well, a warm shower. I just didn't want any like warmth or anything touching it. But it was okay. I just like kind of held my arm out of the water. And it healed faster than I thought it would, and a lot better. Like, I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital. You know how when you get hurt and like you don't know how bad it is, like you don't want to look at it, like you're kind of afraid. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it's happened to me a few times. It was kind of like that. I was like, oh, I'm afraid, but it's not too bad. But it itches so bad. But I definitely learned my lesson. I will definitely, when it comes to stuff that's really dangerous, I will read the directions, and you definitely should too. And what caused it was because I had the burners on first, had those on for a little while, then I had the propane on, so that was all building up in the hose because I didn't like ignite the fire, whatever I don't know what it's called, I'm sorry. But there's like a button you press to ignite the flame. Older grills, you ignite it with like a lighter. And then I had the grill closed, so all of that was just building up, and I pressed the button, or I tried to like put the button back on, and it was just like, it was crazy. And it was very scary. So I just thought I would share because maybe it will help somebody from having to go through that and having their arm burnt or possibly worse. Alright, thank you for watching. Bye.